Hello fellow Blenderers, this is Peter here with PM Designs. In this video we're going to be making procedural Lego bricks for whatever reason you want to do that. Just for comparison here, I've got one which I downloaded. This is not procedural, but this is somebody made this and they've made a very nice bottom underside. And just so you know, I will not be doing that. Okay, this is what mine's going to look like if we can even be bothered to do that part. The reason we're going to be not doing it the way I said, is because, like this is the underside of a real Lego brick, and we're going to start off by making just a one by one peg, which would be like that. And so there's no way, well, sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't know of a way where we can not have this cylinder included when we're doing 1 by 1 or when we're doing 2 by 1. But when we make it into a 2 by 2, then we want this cylinder to appear out of nowhere. And if we were to make it into a 2 by 3, then we'd want it to come to here and include this cylinder, but not this one. So I'm not going to be doing it that way. I'm just going to be making a standard peg like this. Yeah, something like that. And we're going to array that basically and make it procedurally generated in different directions. One thing I will say about this measurement I've got here is the one I went by is 7.9 millimeters. Because apparently there's supposed to be an allowance of a gap of 0.2 millimeters between each block. So we want 7.9 and then they won't clash together. And like, so for example, this one says that it's 4.8, whereas another one that I've got says that it's 5, but that's not going to work, is it? Because then you've got, this peg here is, this hole here is going to be 5 millimeters and this peg is 5 millimeters. It can't go in, can it? Yeah. That's what she said. But so let's get on with it. Okay, so this is another reference I've got on there. Like I say, it says here 5 millimeters and this one's 1.7 and this is 7.8. Let's just see what we get. Yeah, I've done it a couple of times already, but I'm going to just show you what we're going to do. So let's start off. We're doing geometry nodes, so we just need to add in any mesh. A plane will do. I'm going to call it Lego brick and then open up a geometry nodes panel. Okay, close this off. I don't need this. Zoom right in here. What we need to do is set our scene, go to our scene properties and set units to millimeters, like this. And we're going to add a new one. We're going to call this Lego bricks. Okay, so save. So I don't want this group input. I don't actually need this plane, so just delete that. I want a cube. I could have done just a group input of a cube, but anyway, plug the mesh in to the group output. And so going back to my image here, I want 3.2 millimeters on the Z. And 7.8, I think it's supposed to be 7.9, but we'll see how it goes. 7.9 on the X and Y. So these are 7, I'm going to put these as 7.8 for now, and this is 3.2. Okay, so now zoom right in and we've got our little block. Just because we're getting so close, so small, we need to make sure that we can see things. I set my clip start at 0.1 millimeter. All right, so I've got my little peg here, my little block. Now I need to add the cylinder on top. So I'm going to add a cylinder. Okay, just pop that down there for now. Plug it in. All right, so the cylinder needs to, ignore this 5 millimeter, it needs to be 4.8 millimeter diameter, okay, and 1.7 height. So we need the radius to be 2.4. Okay, just in case you're like me and you're not good at maths, I'm going to try and explain this really, really clearly. The diameter is 4.8, so the radius is 2.4. The depth, we're just going to do 1.7 millimeters. Okay, right. So now I want to be able to see my cube as well. So I'm going to get a join geometry here and plug them both in. So just going to X-ray on that. Okay, so now we want this cylinder to sit up on top of this cube. So I'm going to make some space here and add a transform node, or transform. All right, and I need to move it up on the Z axis. All right, so again, like I said, I'm really bad at math and maybe you are too, so I'm going to try and explain this very clearly. We want to move it up by, by basically half of the cube, half of the cube's depth, and then half of the cube cylinder. Yeah, so the cube is 3.2 on the Z. So let's just make it easy. Let's move it up by 3.2, divide by 2. Yeah, 3.2 divided by 2, which is going to be 1.6. All right, so that brings us up by half the depth of the cube. Then we want to bring it up by half of the depth of the cylinder, which was 1.7, so that's going to be 0.85. Okay, so we can just do that here, plus 0.85. All right, so now that sits perfectly on top. All right, if you're not good at math, yeah, I'm the same. Just trust me, that's what it is. Okay, that's how you get it to sit on top. Half of the cube, then half of the cylinder. I'm not gonna. Yeah, you can mess around with it and you can figure out why. I'm not going to show you why. All right, so we've got it sitting on top of there. Cool. Right. Go back to solid view, and we've got kind of a very basic Lego cube. If you want to here, you could just leave it as that, but I want to make it look slightly better, so I'm going to add a bevel modifier. All right, which is going to look really ugly. Amount 0.1 millimeter, segments 3 will do. All right, so here's a problem, is that the cylinder is sitting on top of the cube, and so because it's being beveled underneath, and it doesn't look great. So we go back to our geometry nodes, and we need to actually unite these, yeah, with a Boolean. So I'm just going to search for Boolean or mesh Boolean, plug that in there, set it to union. It's going to disconnect. Plug that in there. Take this guy out here, plug it in there. Okay, so now they connect quite nicely, and it can bevel. All right, so we don't actually need the join geometry anymore. We can just pop that in there because that is one mesh now. All right, cool. So we've got our cube. Now let's start to array that block. So we're going to add in a mesh line. Okay, I'm just going to connect this one for now so you can see what that is. Okay, bring the count down to like 2 for now. And so let's start off in the X direction. We want to be able to like array by 1 cube's width. So that's going to be 7.8. So if I come to set the Z to 0, set the X to 7.8. Okay, and so now you can see the X dimensions is 7.8. X dimension is 7.8. All right, cool. So now we want to be able to add some points on there. So we're going to go mesh to points. Like this. Bang. Okay, don't worry about the radius or anything like that. It's fine. Next, we're going to add instance on points. Like that. All right. And now that's it. We're done. Just plug the mesh into the instance. And there we go. We've got two Lego bricks. And then if we increase this count, we've got 3 Lego bricks, 4 Lego bricks, whatever. Okay. I'm going to keep that as 2 for now. You'll notice that the bevel doesn't work. That's because these are instants, so it's a bit annoying. We'll deal with that in a minute. Now we want to make sure that we can go in the Y direction. We want to be able to sort of array in the Y direction. So I'm just going to shift select all of these and duplicate them, bring it down to like here, and change the X offset to 0 and the Y to 7.8. Okay, grab my instance on points and bring it up here just to make things neat. Plug the first instance on points instances into the second instance on points instance, and then the second instance on points instances into the geometry, like that. Okay, so now we've got the Y as well. Okay, so before we go on to the next step, let's make this control available in the geometry modifier over here, so we don't have to keep jumping into the geometry tab every time we want to do this. So I'm just going to add in a group input like this. All right, and I'll bring my count and connect it into here, and this count and connect it into here. Okay, so now if I just press N to bring up this side tab, go down to group, click on this count, I can name it. So I'm going to name it X count, and click on this count and name it Y count. Okay, so now this is up here. So if I'm in my usual layout, whatever, I can just click on the modifier and I can start to increase the scale of this. Increase this, basically, yeah, scale. All right, go back to geometry nodes. Now we just want to do one where we're going to go on the Z axis. So again, duplicate all of this down to there. Let's just make this a little bit neater. This is going to be, Y is going to be set back to 0. Z has to be 3.2 because that is the height of our cube, our original little cube. So 3.2. All right, and then same thing, connect these instances into this, and then this one into here. All right, so now we'll go back down to our count, set this on 1 or 2, sorry, and we get that. So now we can build up and up and up. If you want to, you can leave it like this. But if you want to create accurate Lego bricks, you need to look at this guy. So for some reason, this is like the lowest Lego brick you can get, apart from like the ones which are the floor, which are basically like 2 millimeters thick or whatever. So this is the shallowest one, and then this is the next step up, which is, so this one's 3.2, this one is 9.6. So I don't know why they do that, but yeah, so that's 3 times taller. So we want to be able to make that included. So when we increase our count to level 2, it's actually going to go up by 3, which is easy enough. We're going to connect this into here, and let's call this one Z count, or Z count, I don't know how to type Z. Right, now what we need to do is add a math node, pop that in there, change that to multiply, and set it to 1.5. So now when we do 2, it becomes actually 3 high. Yeah, it's actually 3 Lego bricks high. All right, cool. So there we go. That's how we can control all of that. So now let's bring our bevel modifier back. Easy enough to do. We're just going to come up here, make some space, and add a realize instances. So that it's like they actually become a mesh. Yeah. And now we've got a new problem. The bevel is occurring between each array. So we need to merge by distance. Boink. Like that. Set that to like 0.1. And that'll do. There we go. Yeah, they merge quite nicely. The bevel works. But right, so we want to make it look a little bit smoother. All right, this is a bit of a problem. So I'm going to add a set shade smooth here. All right, and that happens. So that's really annoying. I don't know how to deal with that. If you do, cool. You can put a comment down below. My way of dealing with this is A, I'm really far away, so I don't care that I can see the faces on the cylinder. All right, B, I'm up a little bit closer, fine. Go back to the cylinder and just increase the vertex count to like 64. Oh, that looks fine. There you go. That looks cool. That looks smooth. Oh, I'm even closer. I don't know why anyone making Lego animations would want to get this close. Okay, fine. Increase the vertex count to 128. Okay, that's my way of dealing with that, because I don't know how to deal with that one. I'm no geometry expert. This stuff like is easy. If I can do this, anyone can do it. Anyway, so now we want to do the color. Yeah, let's make a color first. We're going to call it bricks, and I'm just going to choose like red for now, whatever. I want to add some damage to mine because I use my Lego bricks a lot. So I'm going to add in a noise texture and a color ramp and a bump node like that. That's it. Plug a factor in, just plug these in. I'm sure you know how to do this part. All right, so I'm going to set this to invert, set the strength to 0.5, set my black to about 0.7, and the scale to like 30. There is some more stuff we're going to do with this a bit later, but let's just set this up first. Go back to my geometry nodes and add in a set material node, which I'm going to pop in there, and just search for my bricks color. And so now we've got some damaged Lego bricks. Yeah, maybe 2 damaged, but that's, up to you. I'll just show you. So we've got the damage going on. If you want less, fewer scratches, you would just bring up the black. Yeah. Or if you want bigger scratches, you'd set the scale smaller. Yeah, and you could still adjust how badly damaged. That's like your dog ate the Lego or something. But I think 0.7 and 30 looks pretty good to me for like used Lego bricks. If you're making like brand new Lego bricks, then don't do this. Right. Anyway, so now we need to be able to control our color over here. So on my group output, I'm just going to hide this for now. I'm going to add in a new slot, which is going to be called color. Boink. Like that. And I'm going to call it color. Like that. Okay, so now we need to run this connection back to our group input, but I don't like the connection running all that way, so I'm just going to duplicate this and bring it over here and plug that into a new slot here. So now in output attributes, we have this color. We need to give it a name. I'm going to call it brick color, or brick col. I'm just going to call it brick col. You must remember what you've typed, exactly how you've typed it, or you can just copy it. Okay. And then I'm going to go into my shader. And so for the base color, I need to add in an attribute node. I'm going to go here, type my name, type the name here, which is brick col, whatever you called it. Whoops. Whatever you called it, and then plug this color into here. Okay. And so now back over here, I can change the color. Oh, let's get some, there we go. We can very easily change the color just like that. And I think that's pretty cool. Like I'm not very good at geometry nodes, but the fact I figured out how to do that, I'm pretty happy with. So yeah, you can set whatever kind of color you want. So that's it. That's all of that done. That's the geometry nodes done. We can now make procedural Lego bricks. But before you turn it off and dislike, because you know most of you don't even bother liking, let's deal with some problems. All right. So let's just say you want to make it, you want to duplicate this Lego brick and make it look like they're actually stacked up. So the thing to bear in mind is that you want to duplicate it and you want to move it quickly. So I'm going to press Shift D Z 3.2, bang, like that. Yeah, and now it looks like it's stacked on top. Why did I press Z 3.2? Because that's the depth of the block. Yeah, if I did it by 4.9, it's going to float on top. So now let me make this next brick a bit different. Yeah, so now we've got one of those guys on top, and then all right, I'm going to do this guy, and I'm going to duplicate DX 15.6. Yeah, something like that, and I'm going to make him into a really long one, and I'm going to make it blue, whatever. Okay, but anyway, so if we look at, all right, let's just duplicate this one, DZ 3. Oh, sorry. All right, so now if we look at the damage here, it is duplicated. Yeah, with this, the damage is exactly the same. So that's one problem you're going to face. This is how to fix it. Let me just hide these two for a moment so we can see. I'm going to set this color to like, what's nice and easy to see. That'll do, that color. Yeah, so we can see that quite easily now. We can see the damage is identical, right? So that's easy to fix. First we need the texture coordinate and mapping node down here. So you notice on generated, it's still the same. If you put on object, it's still, we need to actually, if you do an object, you need to increase the scale by 100. Yeah, I don't know why. That's just the number I found was quite good. Anyway, still duplicated. Yeah, still like tiling. So the way to fix that is just to bring these over here, make a little bit of space, set your noise texture to 4D, and add in, so now you get this W value, but it's still repeating. But W basically just moves the texture, yeah? All right, but still it's repeating, so we just want to change it so it's random for each object. For each Lego brick that I make, we'll have a random value in here, which is going to move the texture somewhere. So occasionally there might be a repetition, but it's going to be random, so it's going to be quite unlikely. So I'm just going to add in an object info node, doink, doink, and then plug the random into the W, boink, like that. So there you go. Now it's not repeat. So if I duplicate these again, which is going to be a height of 6.4, DZ 6.4, yeah, none of it's repeating. Yeah, if I do it again, so that's going to be what, 12.8, DZ 12.8. Yeah, and you would be very hard pressed to find any repetition in the texture. Yeah, so there you have it. It's very easy to quickly stack up some Lego bricks and duplicate them or whatever. Oh, we didn't do the bottom part. Oh, all right. Sorry, guys. Let's go back and do the bottom part. Bottom part's very easy. Let's just hide all of these, except for this one. Set it on 1. Yeah. So up to you. You can make it a cylinder. You can make it a cube. Doesn't matter. But so I'm going to add a cube. Basically, the brick that's going to sort of cut into the bottom needs to be 1.6 millimeters smaller from every side, from X and Y. Yeah, so this one is 7.8, yeah, and we need to take away 3.2 from the X and Y. Yeah, so that's going to change it to 4.6. So if we just do this, 4.6. Yeah, and we're going to add in another Boolean here and just pop that in here for now. All right, That's because the depth is crazy. Set the depth to just like slightly less than 3.2. Well, it can be 3.2 actually. Yeah. Why are these 4.6? Thank you. Right. So now you can see we've got this cube starting to appear at the bottom. Just pop out of here. Okay, and now what we want to do is bring it down. Yeah, so add in another transform. Yeah, and we're just going to bring it down on the Z by half of this, which is 1.6. So minus 1.6. All right, so it's popping out the bottom, and we just need to change our the mesh boolean into difference and switch these two around. All right, so that's that. Now we've got some kind of peg in the bottom. You could do this with a cylinder as well. If you wanted to make it out of a cylinder, it doesn't really matter. I recommend if you want to actually show the underside of bricks, you go and make some proper bricks. But for arrayable ones, this is my way of doing it. And if you want that to be a little bit deeper, you just increase the Z. Yeah. So something like that. If we bring back all of these, they've all got these ugly pegs underneath, but in theory they would stick together. All right, so there you go. If you found that useful, please drop a like. Thanks very much.